Do you want to see what it looks like when a mainstream Christian pastor preaches the whole love the sinner, hate the sin idea? Check out what happened in Colorado recently. In the city of Del Norte, there was an event called Rural Philanthropy Days. It's a way for nonprofit leaders in the area to connect with grant giving organizations and learn how to get money for their groups. Seems like a great project. And they needed a venue in town that could hold a few hundred people. They ended up having the event at Gateway Church, a local megachurch. It wasn't a religious event, but churches can sometimes be the largest buildings in town, so the location wasn't that unusual. One of the speakers at the event was Justin Garut, who's gay and gave a talk about coming out of the closet. What does that have to do with philanthropy? Well, Justin was speaking as part of a session on powerful storytelling, which is something all nonprofits have to do for their donors. And the story Justin told was compelling. Justin was talking about how he tried suppressing his orientation with religion growing up in the Catholic Church. And he said this, which I found beautiful. I put all those Our Fathers and Hail Marys, along with all the conversion therapy lessons and threats of hell, in a sealed box in the depths of my closet. Out of that same closet came a beautiful rainbow-colored box that had been patiently waiting for the right time to be opened. Well said. But get this. While Justin was speaking, his mic was cut off. And when it was restored, it was at a lower volume. And he heard the church's pastor, Greg Schaefer, say in his ears to watch what he was saying. And then days later, Schaefer was back in the pulpit, and during his sermon, which was on video, he trashed LGBTQ people and asked everyone to join him in prayer to cleanse the church. Take a look.
And it was good, except for one part. There was a sort of a guest speaker, keynote speaker that we weren't aware of, actually two that came in, that shared some things that we're not in line with as a church. Now, I believe big in opening the doors and being open to the community, but if there's a message that's portrayed or projected from this stage that does not agree with who we are as a people, then we need to say that. We need to make that clear. And you ever get in a moment where you're like, okay, this isn't happening right now, where this guy's getting up and saying, I've embraced my homosexuality and I've given up on God, and God can't help me. He's a hindrance, and he's a person that makes me feel guilty, and so did the priest, and so I walked away, and everybody said, yay. Hey, all right, everybody claps. And here are Hank and I, like a biblical moment. What are we going to do in this moment? And so that's a hot topic if you're not aware. The LGBT movement, Q, X, Y, all the extra little letters that are getting put on, there's a push out there that's going into our school systems. It's coming into our churches, into our communities, and more than that, into our families. Now let me say, we don't endorse homosexuality in this church. We don't. We believe it's a sin. Trust me. You know, that's a wrestling match for me firsthand. But there's a reason why things happen. And I believe God brings opportunity to the church. As we open our doors, we can't fool ourselves what's out there. Sometimes it comes in. So since we're praying together a lot this morning, I'm going to ask that you bow your heads with me, and we just do a one prayer cleansing of this sanctuary. This is God's place.
Can you believe that? When Justin spoke, it wasn't on behalf of the church. It's absurd that this pastor felt the need to apologize for someone else's life. People like Schaefer are the reason people like Justin tell these stories in the first place. Well, this week Schaefer issued a statement about the controversy. But it wasn't an apology. He said Justin mocked God and belittled our faith. That's not true. Justin told a story that a lot of LGBTQ people could tell about what they experienced in their churches. The pastor also said Justin was being disrespectful. If I were to come into someone's house and disrespect their beliefs, their convictions, and their way of life, I think most would say that would be insensitive at the least. Again, no. Justin wasn't delivering a sermon to a church audience. Justin was giving a personal speech at an event that had nothing to do with the church. The location didn't matter. No one disrespected Christian beliefs, unless Schaefer thinks bigotry and hatred are synonymous with his faith. And then my favorite part, the pastor acted like he deserved credit because there was a pride festival in the area and he didn't go there to protest. I guess he thinks someone should give him an award for that. All of this just shows how little he understands LGBTQ issues, even as they relate to religion. He still thinks he did nothing wrong. Despite saying bullying is wrong, he is still the guy who calls them the LGBT movement, X, Q, Y, and all the extras, and talks about how they're coming into our communities and schools as if they're going to infest them with gay cooties. It's never good when someone's response to backlash is worse than the comments that inspired the backlash. The way Schaefer speaks, he should just hire a weekly cleanser of the church since he's soiling that sanctuary every week.